And then there were four, the Final Four. And we're live at the Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana for the 1987 Boys Class AA State Basketball Championships. Hello again, everybody. I'm Frank Bassoni, and welcome to the semifinals featuring
our score. Inside Liberty, I think we'll have a foul from behind on Caesar, and that's the call. Oliver Caesar points to his edge, as if to say pinch, but sometimes not even thinking gets it done against London Liberty.
No, he's trying to be tough. He's trying to put his body out and keep away from the basket if he can, and the official called it.
Stanley will kick it into Marcus. That's up, that's way too hard, and I believe we got a foul on Richard Smith, and that is the call. Foul against King.
It's going to be interesting to watch the screen outs down here because the St. Joe's kids are going to look at you, see Moelis screaming out, and Anderson gets back right into him. But St. Joe's knows what they have to do, and of course the King kids just work a little bit harder to get position. It's still going to be a battle.
Pinch it half court, get it in the middle. Liberty picks it off. This is a 2-on-1. Liberty! No, he's not there. Rebound Moelis. Liberty with a big stride, couldn't get it to fall. Missed it the other way. Now Oliver Caesar. And he is fouled. Richard Smith picks up the foul by King, and we've got a 3-point play possibility coming up.
A straight control on the fast break. See, Mister has the ball. Selby goes out to stop him, and the open man on the wing is there, and he goes up nice and hard, gets the 3-point play opportunity.
Richard Smith picks up his second personal foul into the ballgame now for Chicago King. Carl Anderson, a 6'8", 210-pound senior. St. Joe's has the early lead at 5-2.
And Caesar on the one play got his scoring average. Just a man-to-man press. St. Joe's against King. You just want to bother him a little bit, make him work to get the ball up court.
Stanley kicks it over to Brandon. Liberty with a move. Fake. Up way off the mark. Liberty is pulled from the floor, and St. Joe taking advantage. 52 it away. He never had control of it.
No, he didn't.
The left-hand dribble.
Right, he was dribbling the ball, and he tried to pass off the dribble. It was just the opposite of the great control he had the first time down on the break. He should have stopped, made the nice bounce pass him. Good point, Coach. The bounce pass is what was in order there, and Mister knows it now.
After Liberty hit his first shot here in the semifinal, he has gone cold, 0 for 3. Selby, the freshman, a lot of muscle, and he's fouled from behind by Moelis. And that's what body strength will do for you. Sometimes that ball will just squirt out of there with a quick hand, but when you're strong, like Selby is, you just hang on to it.
See, there you see on the replay a little bit of St. Joe's game plan. The ball went into Selby at the low post. Gragas was guarding him, but he got a lot of help from Moelis coming over the top. Brian just got a little too aggressive and fouled him. But St. Joe's is going to dare King, once they get it inside, to pass it back out.
Selby also had 8 rebounds against Elgin. Of course, the star of the Elgin-Chicago King game, Mark Baugh. Man, he's worth the praise of admission.
Let's see, a same player like that can't play again down here. I think everybody enjoys seeing him.
Second one by Selby is good, and it's a 5-4 ball game. St. Joe with the basketball and the slimmest of margin lead. Sales looks back at his coach, Dean Pingatore. Dean, a fixture at Westchester St. Joe, his 17th season with the Chargers. And here's the chest kick.
Yeah, well, this is what we said. If St. Joe's would have the lead, they're not going to play against this zone. And now King is going to their man-to-man. So now we have the type of defense that St. Joe's wants to play against.
Mister up top, gets it over to Gragas, and now with the basketball, it's Moelis. Gragas will rarely shoot the basketball. Moelis will whenever he's open. And right now, Anderson won't let him open. Scales fade away, too short. Rebound King. Anderson came down with it. And King in no particular hurry because the Chargers back in good shape defensively. Will Liberty get this one? Yeah. That ends his cold spell, and King back on top, 6-5.
See, that's the thing about a great player. He might miss a shot or two, but he's not going to quit shooting because they've got such confidence in themselves. It's just a matter of setting up a little bit more, taking their time. See, now King's back in his own because now they have the lead, and St. Joe's has to create some action.
Liberty with 4. Moelis pass along the baseline. Nice pass back inside the Caesar.
That's a great pass and a very acrobatic shot by Caesar.
Caesar has all of the St. Joe points.
I don't think we would have predicted that.
Down low it goes. Shot won't go by the freshman Selvey. Gets his own rebound and puts it off the glass and in.
I think the St. Joe coaches and fans would have liked an over-the-back call on that one.
Mister stares in at the zone. We have the tournament's top 2 scorers in this game. I've already mentioned Liberty. Scales, number 2 in the point parade. 2:47 remaining here in the first quarter. Jim Albrecht, Frank Pisoni, and Coach Bill Geist of Lyle Bennett. Hoping you're enjoying this semifinal game. Quincy and East St. Louis Lincoln follows this one. Ooh, almost a bad pass. Dragus now throws it away, and it's Liberty time. I think he made sure of that one, gentlemen.
You can't say too much about that. I hope we got that on a replay because I think Marcus's head was above the rim.
Marcus now with 6 on the morning, actually, since we're not yet here to the noon hour in Champaign. Molis, that's where he likes it. Well, he likes it everywhere. Turning it over now is Mister.
So this is what they got to be careful for. They just got a steal and a dunk, so now you don't want to get carried away. You want to maintain your patience even though you're down a few points.
We've got a timeout on the floor. Dragus checks out, and Carl Hayes will come in for St. Joe's. When we return, it is St. Joe's trailing Chicago King by 3. One of your network sponsors is the American Dairy Association of Illinois. Liberty. Dragus tried to kick it over across, and look at that speed.
All right, now here we go. I just want to see how high he gets up on this. You know, he must... I don't know, man.
He may need a clearance from the FAA to land.
That's incredible. He's quite an athlete. To be able to get the steal and dribble all the way at it. For a kid 6'8" in high school, I think that's a tremendous athletic accomplishment. But, you know, we're used to that. We've been seeing that. We saw that all day yesterday, too.
King with a 3-point lead. Stanley down the lane, forces it up, and gets the roll.
See, that's a bonus for King, I think, if they get their little point guard to hit a hoop or two. It just, all he did was make the St. Joe's defense know that he's out there and he can do something with the ball, too.
St. Joe's with an important trip down court right now. Don't want to get too far behind in the early going. Scales with a jump shot. He's off the mark, but Hayes is there to tip it in.
A nice follow-up. Kyle just came off the bench, and he picked up his team right away with a nice offensive rebound.
Tips it in with the right hand. Hayes, only a junior, averaging 8.5 points a game. Just 2 important ones that time for St. Joe. This is Liberty. That's too easy.
See, St. Joe's has nobody to guard Liberty, so what they have to do is just tag off and help, and Caesar's doing the best he can on him, but they're going to have to double and triple team him when he gets the ball down there. And that time he just got the shot off too quickly before they could get any help.
Gene Pingasor has to be a bit concerned that Scales hasn't warmed up. Maybe Molis will.
Well, he doesn't warm up. He's warm all the time. It's just a matter of when he decides he wants to shoot.
14-11, Chicago King with that 3-point lead. Anderson up top to Brandon. That's going to be short. Rebound underneath, and we've got a whistle and a foul as Jamie Brandon followed his own shot. And he'll go to the free throw line.
Almost forgot a screen out that time, Jim, because he was all by himself getting that offensive rebound.
Again, don't forget, we'll be asking your thoughts on the possibility of the 3-point shot in school basketball in Illinois. We'll be giving you those phone numbers as the day progresses.
And we'd like to hear your opinion on it. If you care to give it, please call us. Those numbers will be on the screen shortly.
We'll announce the results at halftime of tonight's championship game. Who will it be? A lot of folks think it'll be King and East St. Louis Lincoln. St. Joe fans and, of course, Cinderella Quincy fans think otherwise. What a game that was last night. Quincy stopping the best team in the state record-wise, and you could feel that coming, couldn't you, Frank, at the outset, the way they played.
Quincy really had it together, played together. Peoria Manual, we didn't have a chance to talk a lot, had a spectacular season, beat some great clubs, finished 31-1.
Ball knocked out of bounds as Mister got in the jam in the corner.
Well, he got in the jam because of his size, and he's been two-timed by somebody 6'6" and 6'3", and it's a little tough to see.
Scales sets up the offense.
3 seconds.
In the middle of Hayes. Hayes way too hard. High for the rebound, and that's the end of the first quarter. With Chicago King owning a 4-point margin, we'll come back for quarter number 2 after I tell you that one of your network sponsors is John Deere. What do you think about the three-point line? Would you like to see it in high school basketball? It's already in Division I college basketball in the NCAA. If you think yay, 1-900-220-2133. Nay vote, 1-900-220-2144. That call, of course, will cost you 50 cents, but we'd like your opinion.
Jim, 2 observations here in the first quarter. Number 1, it seems like King is really looking to Marcus Liberty. He's being very active on offense, and his teammates are looking to get him the ball. For St. Joe's, Ryan Mullis hit his last shot. It was about a 20-footer out there. I think it's very important that he continue to look at the basket and keep on shooting.
Johnny Selvey did what he did earlier in the first quarter. Missed the shot, follow it back up. Boy, he leans into people, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. You know, he creates contact, and I think the officials are making good no calls rather than the touch foul.
Ooh, almost taken away out front by Carl Stanley, who tipped the pass. Mullis inside Hayes. Hayes, nice pass. The Scales, he got it off the glass.
See, that's what St. Joe's has to do. If they're going to get good shots, they're going to have to be passing the ball to each other and looking for each other well. Get it inside, look for each other inside, and look to pop it outside on the weak side of the zone for the good shot.
Scales, first bucket of the contest. There's Liberty again. He's surrounded. He'll put it up anyway. That cost him because it comes up short.
That was not a good shot. He didn't really set himself. He should have passed it out.
Mullis with a chance to draw it in, too. It's too hard. Rebound came down to Anderson. And now it's taken away by Hayes. What'll it do? It's away from Mullis, and he'll throw it away. I think it was touched last by Carl Stanley. Let's see, yeah. Stanley got a finger on it. Got a little too fancy that time. He had a clean 2-on-1.
Right.
King 6 of 12 from the field. St. Joe right around there. And 3 of 4 from the line for King. Turnovers, of course, heavily in favor of King, and St. Joe turned the ball over 5 times in that first quarter.
Well, that's why we have a 4-point game rather than an even game. Everything else is even.
Nice move by Hayes, and he'll draw the foul. That will be before the shot.
St. Joe's had some success getting the ball inside. They just got to be patient and keep on cutting inside and look for that man.
St. Joe scored 26 points in the first quarter yesterday and had 49 at the half. That's how capable they are offensively.
Mullis deals inside the Scales. He can't get it to fall, and now a foul. Boy, that's tough. Scales upset with himself.
Yeah, it was a frustration foul. It was a beautiful pass by Mullis to Scales, and he went up and just missed the shot, and then he got a little eager and fouled him. Here you'll see, I think, on the replay, the nice pass by Mullis, right? Little dump off, grabs it and goes up.
And the reason Scales probably hurried the shot is because, well, of all that tall King timber, you just never know when it's going to come up and swipe at you.
That's right, there's some large people in there, so you have a tendency to rush the shot a little bit.
Liberty, a very good free throw shooter, gets the roll. He's over 72%. Yeah.
Usually that happens.
I don't think you can jinx that, man. I'm sorry. TV or no. 6:26 remaining in the first half. King now leads by 5. But we've got a foul inside, and I think that'll go on Selvey. Johnny Selvey, the freshman, battling inside. St. Joe's will come up court with a 5-point deficit staring at him. And, of course, that zone of King staring at them as well.
I think what St. Joe fans would like to see is Cliff Scales get off the mark here with a hoop.
Scales has 2 points in the contest. Bad pass out front, taken away by Brandon. Brandon all the way up to Liberty, one against everybody, too hard. Rebound comes down to Mullis, and now it's a 2-on-2 for St. Joe. Nice bounce pass to Scales, he can't get it. Scales couldn't get it, the defense made him change his shot in midair.
So you have another example of intimidation down there.
Liberty, yes.
Scales had a layup, but he knew Liberty was right behind him, so he had to try to use the rim to protect from the block shot, and he made the good move. He just couldn't put it down.
2 in-close misses by Scales, and now St. Joe down by 7. Hayes with an 8-footer. That's short. Rebound fought for and won by Caesar.
He's been a really effective player in the early part of this game.
Moeller, that's within his range, believe me.
Well, that's why they had two guys out there.
Nice pass to Scales, but Liberty says, get out of here. Moeller gets it back. Scales again. That's persistent.
Yeah, that's a great play. After you get rejected like that, and you know, he hasn't had the greatest start to this game, but he really hung in there and just put it right back up.
5 minutes remaining now in the first half.
All Scales did yesterday was 13 of 15 from the field.
Inside they go to Selvey, and good defense by St. Joe, but unfortunately they couldn't control the ball. That was a tough pass because it was a lob, and there were 3 Chargers around Selvey. Anderson will check out now for King, as will Carl Stanley. Checking in is Emmett Lynch at 1 guard position. And Richard Smith is back in there as well. Liberty off the mark, but he gets it back somehow, and now we've got a traveling call out front. You know, Liberty's not having one of his better days from the field, but
I think
he's still getting it done.
It might be part of their game plan to look for him a little bit more on offense. It kind of looks that way, but I think he's drawn so much attention on some of his shots that he'd be a little bit better off just pulling up and passing it out.
Scales forces the issue and doesn't win it. Emmett Lynch, the starter on last year's AA championship team. Selvey kicks it back out to Lynch. Over to Smith, and they'll start it again. They're looking for, you know who, Liberty. Long jumper in the corner, Brandon. Whew.
Not bad for a freshman, huh?
Well, they have 2 freshmen who average combined right around 24 points a game. No, that's not bad when you can throw in a Liberty into that offensive scheme. 7-point lead for King. Hayes in the middle. That looks off, and it is. Rebound fought 4 rolls around, belongs to St. Joe. That's one of those rebounds where half the team assumes it's already grabbed, and they turn their backs, and it rolls off of somebody's shoulder. Out to Mister. Quickly into Hayes. Nice pass to Scales. He missed another one in close. Caesar gets it back. Nice play, but he won't get it to fall. Boy, Caesar is just strapping, as you noted moments ago, Frank.
And King is very conscious of where Brian Moelis is on the court at all times.
And he gets the ball. It looks like they want to have 2 men on him. Just their inside passing has really been very good. Here you go again, a little dump pass down. That spot seems to be open. They just haven't been able to put it in the hoop, basically because of the defense and the shot blocking ability of King.
Richard Smith was there to bother Scales that time, and now Caesar can't get the free throw to fall.
No, another thing, Jim, with the 7-point game, as long as King's in the lead, that really means that St. Joe's is going to have to play against their zone. So I think that's the defense King wants to play, so it's really going their way right now.
A 6-point lead for Sonny Cox's squad. Smith looking inside. There's Liberty. Oh, he'll force it from there. That's why. I guess it's not a force, what he said.
Well, I was just going to say, you don't know if it's a forced shot or not.
Boy,
you get on. You know, you say force because there's so many people around you, but he's taller than they are, and he just turns and takes a nice, easy shot.
Yeah, he's so smooth.
Yes, he is. That time he squared up pretty well on his shot. He went up straight rather than fading away or fading to the side.
10 points now for Marcus Liberty. St. Joe in danger of getting to that double-digit deficit. Mister gets it inside. Caesar can't handle it. Liberty does. Up ahead quickly to Lynch, and this should be 2, but a great defensive play by Mister.
That's good hustle back by Terry.
Seen a lot of those in the last couple of days, haven't we? Breakaway layups, and that guard comes down and gets the hand in. 24-16 our score. King in the driver's seat so far. We'll come back and see how the rest of the first half goes after we pause for these messages. Back live at the Assembly Hall. Here's some of the action in the second quarter. St. Joe trying to get that ball inside. Caesar couldn't handle it. Liberty could. And it looked like a breakaway to Lynch, but great defense.
Well, you can run a lot faster without the ball than you can dribbling the ball. And so even though the offensive man had the break, the defensive man with a lot of hustle was able to get there.
Although yesterday I thought Mr. Baugh put an end to that series.
Well, you only needed 3 dribbles to go end to end. That's why.
Liberty again. Oh, nice.
Great touch. Great soft touch. You know, on offense, as we come down here for St. Joe's, but the viewers might look at it. Anytime Brian Molis, number 20, gets the ball, I think there's going to be two men from King on him. And that's why I think some of the inside play has been open for those passes inside.
That time Hayes did what you like to see, Coach, the head fake inside with all those tall folks around.
You know, Jim, too, in back of us, we've got the St. Joe fans, and all we can hear is get the ball to Molis, get the ball to Molis. Well, every time Brian gets the ball, he's got two people on him. And somebody else is open, and that's why they've been getting those shots inside. I mean, that's good basketball.
Well, Sonny Cox has given his team those instructions. You can count on that.
I think that's a good game plan from King out of Coach Cox, if that's what he wants to do, because, you know, he doesn't want to have Scales and Molis beat him, because that's what happened yesterday with Rockford Boylan. Those two players really beat Boylan almost by themselves. And he doesn't want that to happen, so he puts two guys on Molis. And the other three guys are keeping it tight inside, and you don't want to let somebody else beat them.
Hayes not good from the line, but Molis has the rebound, and he's got the puck. Very important hoop for St. Joe at that point, because they trailed by 10. Now they cut it back to 8. King with a basketball. Checking the official scorer's book now. 15 points for Marcus Liberty. They try to go inside to Anderson, and it's knocked away. Ahead to Molis, and count him up.
So there's that pressure defense. Brian did a nice job, knocked the ball away, hustled down court, got the good bounce pass, and took it in for the hoop.
Molis comes from an interesting basketball background. His dad, Wayne, played for the New York Knicks.
Lynch down low to Anderson, and we've got a whistle and a foul. Good penetration by the point guard. Emmett Lynch, as we told you, started last year on that King championship team. He plays a lot for Sonny Cox, averaging 7 points a game, but the penetration set it up.
Right. Penetrated, just dumped the ball off to the free man. Hayes came over to try to help. He got him on the wrist, though.
That pressure you talked about, Coach Geist, right there.
Right. He overplayed him a little bit, knocked the ball away, and then got the nice pass and got the easy count.
Well, the free throw shooting, nothing to write home about in the last couple of minutes anyway. Carl Anderson off the mark that time.
59% Anderson at the foul line.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that King doesn't do very well as a team is shoot free throws.
55% is not a very good foul shooting team average. Caesar, for example, is 75.
Caesar checks back in now as Hayes goes out. Again a missed free throw. Ball fought for, one underneath by Brandon, but he steps out of bounds. And Molis is shaken up.
He turned his ankle.
Molis is shaken up, and if he turned his ankle, that may turn the fortunes of St. Joe the wrong way. Let's see if he got off it in time. There's that instant, Coach, when you come down on the ankle, if you can get off it in time,
right,
and not put all that pressure on it, and I think Molis pulled it off.
He was hustling for the rebound and jumping, and he came down on somebody's foot, I believe, and it turned on him.
Well, he's limping noticeably.
Well, he's a tough kid. What he's got to do is stay in there and see if he can walk it off, run it off, whatever, because if he comes out, it might start to swell, and then that would mean that he couldn't play.
St. Joe with a chance to cut it to 4. Molis, injured ankle and all, kicks it back out to Mister. 1:37 remaining now in the first half. Molis will try the ankle.
Caesar with another rebound. He's really keeping St. Joe's in the game. He's having himself a heck of a basketball game right now.
Ten points for Oliver Caesar. Liberty will try to come back. He does. He's just so smooth. He makes those quick moves, and they don't look that quick, but they are, believe me. 28-22, King with the lead. Bad pass, got away. Lynch has got it up ahead to Brandon. Brandon will lob it up to Liberty. He couldn't get it. You could see that forming, Coach, but he couldn't quite pull it off.
I was holding my breath because I knew something was going to happen.
When Liberty got from one end of the floor in about a half a second.
He really flies. He really, I was watching him. I think you were watching the same thing. I mean, he saw that break, and he just took off, and it's fun to watch him run.
Now Molis turns it over, thanks to pressure from Jamie Brandon, the freshman guard.
Everything he does is effortless, it seems, and that's why it's so much fun to watch him.
Liberty will come up front now, and help King spread it out. Let's see if Sonny Cox wants to hold for one. It looks that way with 20 seconds remaining in the first half.
This is King's delay game with 3 people out and 2 in.
They'll go with about 9 or 8 seconds on the clock. Right now, we're at 11, 10, 9. It's time to go. Liberty. They'll probably just pull up and hit the jumper. No. Rebound belongs to the Chargers. Well, St. Joe's did exactly what they wanted. Got a good jump shot from Marcus Liberty. It wouldn't fall. Scales with a rebound. And St. Joe very much in it here at the half. Chicago King leads it by 6. 28-22 our score. We'll come back with our halftime entertainment live from the Assembly Hall after I tell you one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. We are back live at the Assembly Hall. Jim Albrecht, Frank Bassoni, and Coach Bill Geist. And Bill, you've got to say overall, considering that King led the entire first half with the exception of a moment or two, that St. Joe is still in good shape because they have not been able to control the tempo being behind most of the first half.
Well, yeah, I think if before the game we asked Coach Singatoa, would you be happy with a 6-point deficit at half? I think he said yes. Now, the only thing with being down, though, as you mentioned, is that he still has to play against the defense that King wants to throw at him, which is that zone, either the 1-2-2 or the 2-3. Now, if St. Joe's could get the lead, you know he's going to make him go to the man-to-man. So the chess match could still develop a little bit, but you know what King wants to do on defense. You know what St. Joe's wants King to do on defense. It's just a matter of who's got the lead.
The great thing about high school basketball, and all basketball for that fact, is that one day you can be unconscious like Mr. Scales was yesterday, hitting 13 out of 15, and the next day you come back to earth a little bit. Scales had 3 shots in close. They weren't all gimmies because of the King defense, but they didn't drop, and if they do, we're tied.
Right, and plus I think they're 6 down, and Cliff Scales has not had a good half. A couple of the other players had great halves, but Cliff Scales hasn't had that half that he had yesterday. Certainly hasn't played up to his ability, I don't think. Now, certainly King's defense has something to do with that. But, you know, I look at, as far as being a St. Joe's fan, I would say Scales hasn't played that well. Mullis could play better. We're still in the game. From King's standpoint, I think everything is kind of going their way because they can play their defense, and they're getting a great game out of Marcus Liberty.
And, Frank, a big factor right now going on in the locker room in St. Joe's is the fact that Brian Mullis is having that ankle tended to. If it does swell, St. Joe's is in trouble.
We'll check and let you know in just a moment.
Let's go now to our public address announcer, Steve Adams. Steve?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, the Belleville East High School Pep Band under the direction of Robert Kohlmeyer.
We'll come back with more live from the Assembly Hall and talk about that three-point play and how you can vote for it. But first, let us pause for these messages.
Jim Albrecht and Coach Bill Geist back live at the Assembly Hall. The three-point play. Should it be in high school basketball in Illinois, or would you like to keep it away? Give us a call at those 2 numbers. The yes number at the top of the screen,
1-900-220-2133. If you would like to see it stay out of the game, it's 2144 is your last four digits. Coach?
That's why I like a little personal message to my wife. I know she's watching. Would you please notice the no number here? And please start calling now. And continue to call. I don't care about the 50 cents.
Well, if your coaching days come to an end, you can always go politicking, it sounds like. Right now, that vote stands at in favor of 2,426, against the three-point shot, 1,309, 1,309, so a good 1,000-point margin for the three-point shot. Let's take a look at scoring here in the first half. It's been the Give Me Liberty show for Chicago King. 17 points from Marcus. The rest, Selvey, the freshman, with 6, and 4 of those I know for sure came off of offensive rebounds. The other 2 on free throws. Brandon with 3, Stanley with 2. Nobody in foul trouble for King.
See, this was really following the game plan of St. Joe's. They figured they couldn't do that much to stop Liberty. They just didn't want to have him at one of those 40-point games. But they're holding the other King players down, but Marcus could have a 40-point game.
And a pleasant surprise for St. Joe in the first half. Oliver Caesar, who has picking up the scoring slack from Mr. Scales. Caesar with 10, Molis with 6, Scales way below his average at 4, but it's only halfway over. Let's take a look at the team stats. King shooting 52%. St. Joe's getting off 2 more shots. Rebounds, King being out-rebounded, which is kind of surprising at this point.
Very surprising, but they're being out-turnovered, too, if there's such a word, and that, I think, is a big difference.
Yeah, St. Joe's with 5 more turnovers. 28-22 is our score. We're about 2 minutes away from second half action, and this is the first of 2 semifinal games live on the IHSA television network. Let's pause after I tell you one of your network sponsors is the American Dairy Association of Illinois. A legend in his own town, Gene Pingatore, the Ping Dynasty. They call it that because St. Joe has been down here to the Elite Eight 5 of the last 6 years. There's 6 trips to the Elite Eight overall, and people forget how tough it was for St. Joe's to get down here, winning 3 overtime games, A in the regional championship, and then 2 overtime games in the sectional.
Jim talking about Brian Molis and the ankle. I just checked with him in the bench. They did wrap it. He's fine, he says. He'll be able to play in the second half. And it may be interesting for our fans to note that Oliver Caesar, who had 10 points in the first half of this game, did not score, while King got 85 points, or while St. Joe's got 85 points yesterday.
I can't figure this out, Coach. I can't figure this out. That's your job. That's what you get paid for.
Well, when you say so, see, I talked to Coach Stock before the game, and what he said is that what we'd like to do is keep Scales and Molis somewhere in the teens. They didn't want them to have the 30-point game, the high 20s as they had yesterday. Now, to do that, you have to spend a lot of time and put a lot of people on defense when these 2 kids get the ball. Now, that's going to free other people, and that's what's happened, and Cesar's just been a good opportunistic player today. He's just looking for the ball, and then he's taking advantage of the opportunities he has. I mean, that's just being a good player.
Here is one of those opportunities by Oliver Caesar. Nice pass from Scales.
All right. Now, see, he was open. He made a nice shot, but he was wide open because they were paying attention to the fact that Cliff Scales had the ball.
Right. St. Joe's with a basketball here to start the second half as we're underway at the Assembly Hall. One of these teams will be going for third place tonight, the other for the mountaintop. Hayes kicks it over to Molis. Molis does not get it down. Hayes had it, lost it. King's ball.
So it's a little interesting the first time down because they started Brian Molis at the high post and then broke him outside. And it worked because he got a nice shot from the corner. It just didn't go down for him.
Chargers start the second half with Carl Hayes in the lineup rather than Dragut.
Along the baseline, it's Brandon, the freshman, way too hard. Molis with a rebound, so both teams exchange misses here in the early going of the second frame. For Westchester St. Joe, at the guards, it is Clifford, Scales, and Mister. And now the ball batted right back to Molis. At the forwards, it is Molis and Caesar. And Carl Hayes is the center. With the King lineup, when they go down the floor offensively the next trip. Hayes, nice pass to Molis.
They passed very well. That little high-low play they've got going that they used a couple times already.
Good catch by Molis.
That ball was zipped. So King sees their lead dwindle to 4. A lot of people expect a team like King to come out and blow people away every day, but sometimes when you're out there, the tempo is not all yours. Liberty his 19th point of the game.
Almost doesn't seem fair, dude.
I mean, he just spins, looks at the bucket. He's got the height. He's got the shot. He's got every quality you need. And the ball taken away in the middle. Kicked out, but Moelis came and stole it, but an over and back call. Over and back call.
That's a tough call, but I think it's a good one.
St. Joe not arguing too much, at least as far as the coaches on the bench are concerned. Scales trying to keep the official into giving it to him. If an official does that and the play's underway, they can't call it back. Time to go. I've never seen it happen, but it's worth a try. 30-24 is our score. And now traveling call. Both players for King had trouble with that one. Stanley had trouble with it, and so did Bradges.
See here, they ruled that Brian had control of the ball there and then picked it up on the other side of half court, which would be over and back.
Was a tough call.
Yes, it was.
Scales will find it.
Now, he's been getting that shot, and now he's starting to hit that shot. So, you know, we talked about it. He has to have a good second half for him, St. Joe's to have a chance in this game.
King up by 4 again. Brandon gets it down inside. Ball batted out of bounds from behind by Hayes. Well, Liberty, I don't know how many shots he's had blocked during the course of the year. In the Chicago Public League, of course, there are people who can leap just as high as Marcus Liberty.
You know, Liberty's always in a lot of traffic, yet rarely fouled.
Liberty has it blocked again, but this time they say Hayes got a piece of the hand.
It's interesting if anybody else but King really gets more involved in the offense, because they've really looked exclusively to him, to Marcus Liberty, I mean, and he's been taking a lot of the shots.
No move from Gene Pingatore to get Hayes out of there. Hayes playing with 3. Dragus, the starting center, still on the bench. Liberty with his 20th point of the afternoon. If this one hits nothing but net, perk your ears up. This is how good he is. He makes it sing.
Pretty sound for a basketball coach.
It's on the top 10 hit list, no doubt about that. 32-26, Chicago King up with 5:41 remaining here in the third quarter. King trying to become the first Class AA team to repeat as champion. Oh, nice move, Caesar.
I think they better start paying a little bit of attention for that young man in the middle.
Caesar made a move, then got his hip on his defensive man, and once that happens, it's all his. He took the lane, got the roll, and it's a 4-point game again. Out front, Stanley. Stanley with his second bucket of the game. And as you said earlier in this contest, Coach, anytime he gets one, that's dessert. Emmett Lynch in the ball game for Chicago King, along with Stanley. Of course, Marcus Liberty, you know. Richard Smith wears number 31, and the freshman, Johnny Selvey at the other forward. Scales, tough shot, got it.
He's capable of hitting that shot. I think he's starting to feel a lot better about his offense. You can just see the confidence with him right now.
Scales with the floater. Smith gets it inside Selvey. A lot of muscle, not there. Tipped Liberty, no. Rebound fought for. Liberty somehow gets it, fires, hits it.
Great persistence by Marcus Liberty. He had a couple tips, hustled out to get the ball, and then put in the jumper.
He's got a breathtaking array of shots.
36-30, King trying to get off that 6-point, 4-point lead. In the middle, Hayes had his shot blocked by Liberty, but we've got a foul now after the fact, and it will go against Chicago King. See what Liberty did after he blocked the shot? He was heading up court.
You could see another dunk at the other end.
He's heading up court right there.
Something like that usually is you're taught by your coach. So you block a shot, they want you to take off.
Selvey with that foul. Mister will set up the offense. Scales wants to move along the baseline, and he's fouled by Richard Smith.
He goes attacking the zone a little bit better, I think, this second half.
Scales headed for the University of Nebraska when his high school playing days are over today. Ball tipped around. Moelis somehow controlled it. Gets it blocked by Liberty. Moelis gets it back. Now what, Brian? Kick it out. Good idea, because Liberty was all over him. In the middle they go. Caesar puts his head down, gets it up, can't get it. Ball out of bounds. It still belongs to St. Joe. A lot of contact that time.
There's been quite a bit of contact the last 2 times in there.
Carl Anderson checks in. Now Richard Smith will leave for Coach Sonny Cox. All St. Joe's wanted to do today was stay close and get into that fourth quarter and see what happens. And it looks like they might do just that. But King hasn't made one of those runs yet. Scales. This quickness gets him out of every possible problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think through the reason King hasn't had one of those runs is that St. Joe's is doing a nice job of controlling the tempo.
In the middle of the Hayes, he's fouled from behind by Selby, who gave him a push. So important for the big man to go and get the ball, Coach.
Right, he goes 2 hands, he went up hard after it, and he got pushed.
Third foul on Selby. Neither team yet in the bonus situation from the free throw line. Chargers trying to draw within 4. Bolus, every time he touches the ball, has 2 people on it. If he does shoot it, like I think he's about to now, he better release in a hurry. That one's short. Bolus follows his own shot and then loses it out of bounds. See, even when they leave Molis alone, occasionally he's thinking 2 people are coming out on me. That time he looked once, and you rarely see him do that.
Yeah, he didn't shoot the ball with the confidence he usually does. He kind of held back a little bit. You know, I think something indicated that as soon as he released it, he was going for the rebound because he knew it didn't feel good.
Anderson doesn't want the shot from the wing. They're looking for that man. Number 30, Liberty. Left-handed shot won't go down.
I'll tell you, Marcus has fun when he's playing the game, doesn't he? That's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, there are some people who get so good at their given profession, they have to do other things to keep themselves interested. And Marcus Liberty now trying to be ambidextrous, shooting with the left hand.
It's a pretty good-looking shot, too.
Yeah,
he followed through, and he snapped his wrist. It looked like he knew what he was doing.
Anybody out there who's a right-handed shooter who's tried occasionally to throw it up left-handed knows how difficult that can be. Hayes in trouble with his 4th personal.
That hurts because he was doing a nice defensive job.
Daryl Cunningham checks in, number 32, the 6'6" sophomore. So Dean Fingator has to go with a bit of inexperience, although Cunningham has played quite a bit this season. Liberty. Now has 24 points. Ball heads out of bounds, belongs to St. Joe. We've got a timeout on the floor with 2:51 remaining here in the 3rd quarter from the Assembly Hall. Chicago King holds the edge by 7 over Dean Fingator's Chargers. One of your network sponsors today is John Deere. Jim Albrecht, Frank Pisoni, and Bill Geist, the coach of Lyle Bennett, back at the Assembly Hall. And just looking around during the timeouts, an early morning game after 4 of those games like we had yesterday, people are kind of back in their seats. They need to be recharged, especially when you start at 11:15 in the morning. Like morning games?
So I like what?
Morning games?
Hey, if I could be playing right now, I'd play anytime you wanted me to. It could be 3 a.m., noon, I don't care. These kids don't care. Their fans may care, but the kids don't care.
Lyle Bennett takes the floor at 5 a.m.
I'll be there. I'll have a spot, too.
St. Joe trying to cut that lead to 5. Scales double-teamed as he finds the baseline, kicks it back out to Mister.
King's defense is very active.
Cunningham come up short, but he gets his own rebound back. Cunningham off again, and Liberty with a rebound. Long pass to Lynch. Will he get it? Yeah.
What an outlet pass by Marcus Liberty. Under the basket, almost a hash mark on the other side of half court.
Biggest lead of the day for Chicago King at 9, 39-30. Well, Daryl Cunningham, the sophomore, got a couple of shots off, but couldn't get him to fall, and Liberty made him pay with the outlet pass. There's Cunningham again. Lynch knocked it out of bounds, but he also took a piece of the arm of the young sophomore.
This play is especially tough because this is a sophomore. I mean, he thinks he's got a shot, and he just got tomahawked from behind. Now, even though it's a foul and he's going to the line, mentally, it's got to be tough on a kid this young.
The Chargers really need these points.
You know, when I say that, Jim, I mean, the next time he gets the ball in there, you know, will he be thinking that somebody's going to be coming from behind me or not?
Well, he was thinking about rim on that one and got it.
That looked good.
There you see Darryl Cunningham. Looks like he's got about 2 or 3 more inches to grow. Could be a big factor by the time he leaves St. Joe. Got them both. Minute 55 remaining in the third quarter, and that lead back down to 7 again for King. Emmett Lynch across the timeline. St. Joe in that predictable man-to-man defense that they always play. Baseline Liberty. Too hard that time. Rebound by Cunningham. Well, didn't take him long to get in the game, did it? Of course, Hayes on the bench for St. Joe with 4 fouls, so Cunningham a key here. Molis would like to get free for a jumper, but King just won't let it. In the middle, Cunningham. That's blocked, but it goes down anyway. Marcus Liberty got a hand on it, but couldn't quite get enough of it. It hit the fingertips, then the net. Cunningham with the last 4 points for the Chargers, and again, it's a 5-point game. Carl Stanley was in trouble. Almost losing it is Carl Anderson, but he gathers it in as King sets up the offense.
This would be a big defensive stop for the Chargers.
Minute left in third quarter.
St. Joe's has picked up a defensive pressure, full court that last time. And now, of course, we have King in their delay game going for 1 shot with a little less than 50 seconds to go.
This is what Sonny Cox instructed his players to do at the end of the first half. Liberty got the shot off at that point from about 17 feet away, but it wouldn't fall. Let's see if this one works out a bit better. Bad pass inside. Anderson collects it, goes up, and he missed it. Rebound Cunningham.
That is a big play, a very big play, because now they can cut the lead to 3.
Anderson a little bit upset with himself. And, of course, St. Joe will hold for the final shot here. Let's see if they'll work it inside or try to set it up for Molis or Scales. Scales dribbling out front with a basketball. This might be all Scales here. Ball won't fall. Tipped around. Rebound Caesar. Scales at the buzzer now. Well, St. Joe gave it a run. They trail by 5 after 3 quarters of play. There you see Sonny Cox and his assistants. They'll gather the Kings together for the final 8 minutes of regulation. 39-34 King. Let's pause for these messages. If this play were a picture, what would you entitle it?
To dunk or not to dunk? Looked like he wanted to, but then he changed his mind. He didn't quite get up high enough, then you wind up missing the shot. It rolls off.
Carl Anderson, the man who couldn't quite get it to fall. And again, it was the sophomore, Darryl Cunningham, with a big rebound.
St. Joe's has really got some help from people that didn't help. Oh, that's backcourt.
Over and back for King to start the fourth quarter. Is that an omen? Sonny Cox hopes not.
Well, that shows you as a coach because there's no reason for it. There's no pressure, just a mental lapse by the players.
You know, Sonny Cox, watching him on the bench, he pretty much has that same disposition at all times. If somebody told him his house just got taken away by a tornado, he probably have that same look. Molis, big shot, won't go down. Rebound fought for him. Scales had it and lost it, though, because the freshman, Johnny Selvey, used the muscle. Lynch will force it and hit it. But will it count? Will it count? Yes. Charge, though, on Emmett Lynch.
Well, here I think you're going to see that the shot is taken. The ball is out of his hand, just about through the net, and then he hits the player.
Brian Molis was the man who sacrificed his heart for that one. And it turns out to be a pretty big play because St. Joe now at the free throw line in the bonus situation. And Molis is pretty much like money in the bank from here.
St. Joe's does have an edge, I think, over King in the free throw shooting department. So if it comes down to free throws, well, especially with Molis and Scales, so they both hit into 70%.
Well, if it's close down the stretch, you can bet Gene Pingator will instruct his team to foul. Molis hits them both. It's a 5-point game again, so Lynch and Molis exchange on the charge. Liberty so smooth.
seems like when they need something, they just go to him and he delivers.
Liberty is so good, they ought to subtract points when he hits the rim. I mean, he rarely hits the rim.
And ball didn't even rotate.
Don't let Sonny Cox hear you say that.
Just kidding, Sonny. 43-36, 7-point lead for the defending state champion. Scales with a big shot from the wing and a foul on the play against the freshman from King, Johnny Selvey, as he was fighting it out with Darrell Cunningham.
This could be a 4-point play because the basket is good. Now we're going to get a 1-and-1.
They say that Selvey threw an elbow. Let's take a look.
There's the shot. That'll go down. Don't watch the shot, though. There's the shove. Pushed him off with his right arm.
Well, as I said earlier, Cunningham not a great free throw shooter, but he did can his first two, and these would be big for St. Joe because if he hits both, it's a 3-point ball game again, and King is hanging on.
Darrell only hits 53% of his free throws, but he really hasn't shot that many throughout the whole year.
Leading scorer in this game, as you might expect, Marcus Liberty with 26. Free throw, good. Remember what we said yesterday about rising to the occasion and how a lot of basketball is between your ears? Well, Darrell Cunningham has got himself mentally geared towards doing what he's about to do.
Doing a nice job. He's taking his time, taking a deep breath.
I think there may be quite a few people taking deep breaths before this one's over. 43-40. King with a 3-point lead. Pressure applied by St. Joe. They get it in the middle of Marcus Liberty. Over and back. Over and back, and that really wasn't Liberty's fault. He had his back to the line. He didn't know he was there.
Well, Jim, the official did not signal over and back. He signaled traveling.
Called it for traveling.
Whatever, it's a turnover. St. Joe has the ball. It can cut it to 1 point.
Sonny Cox wants a timeout with 7:06 remaining. St. Joe crawling ever closer. It's King 43, St. Joe 40. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. There's your statistics in this first semifinal game after 3 quarters. King still shooting fairly well, almost 50%. St. Joe getting 6 more shots, though, and that's why they're crawling within distance. King 7 of 12 from the free throw line. St. Joe hardly there, but they're making hay at the free throw line thanks to Darrell Cunningham, the sophomore. Rebounds still in favor of St. Joe by 9, and that's surprising. Now, here's the violation. It is not an over and back, right, Coach?
Right. He put 1 foot back over into the front court, and he can come back without it being a violation. So you have to have both feet and the ball in front court before that's a backcourt violation. That was a traveling call.
We're at the 7-minute mark right now, and St. Joe's can draw to within a point. Molis kicks it over to Scales. It's up, and it's in.
What St. Joe's did that time is throw a skip back across the court, and then Cesar set a pick on the zone, and Scales is wide open for the shot.
Well, King is noted for cranking it up when they have to, and now they have to. Let's see. In trouble out front is Stanley, and now we've got over and back call against King, the second one of this quarter. And it wasn't really Richard Smith's violation. He had to really hustle after it. It was just good defensive pressure by St. Joe.
And you know who it was the sophomore, Darrell Cunningham.
Again, across court it goes to Scales. Scales, nice body control because he almost had it taken away by Emmett Lynch, who has great hands.
Defensive intensity on both teams is picking up right now.
The Chargers shooting for the lead. Will they find the magic mark? Inside Cunningham. That's not going to be there. Ball tipped around, out to Molis. You know where he's going with it. Blocked from behind by Liberty. Out of bounds, St. Joe.
Look at the bodies on the court. What are we playing, football?
No, we just have large frames, and things fall when things collide. Jamie Brandon, the freshman guard, will now come back in. Emmett Lynch will go out. St. Joe trying to pull the second straight upset in this tournament after Quincy set the tone last night against Peoria Manual. Almost a steal out front. Molis double-teamed as he has been for the entire contest. Scales wants the baseline. Hank takes the left-handed shot. Caesar not there. Rebound comes down to King. Brandon almost lost it and grabbed it back. Scales switched hands in midair. He couldn't get it to fall. And then Caesar missed the one in close in traffic. Ball stolen in the middle. Caesar knocked it away. Picked it up to Caesar. Shot is up and good. and St. Joe's has the lead at 44-43.
All right, now if they can get the ball back, you might see St. Joe's holding the ball a little bit and make it come out of that zone. Something for us to look for.
Big trip now for King because they don't want that to happen. They don't want to lose out to Gene Pingator's strategy. Let's see if they look for Liberty. Caesar now with 14 points in the game. There's Liberty. Triple team goes up and hits it.
Well, you called it. 3 men he had on him, and he still got the shot down, and it was a very good shot.
Landon Cox said at the top of the broadcast, you danced with who brung you.
Right now, King dancing to the tune of We Lead by One. Liberty with 28 points. Scales driving. Too hard off the glass. Rebound comes down to Smith. Quickly out to Liberty. Let's see if he slows it down. He wants a 20-footer. Not there. Rebound. Stanley. In traffic. Can't find it. Stanley again, and we've got a whistle and a foul as Stanley comes out holding his head. He got an elbow in there. Well, Liberty is not shy, is it?
You know, Carl Stanley, in his own way, has had a big impact on this game. It seems like when they need a hoop, he's hit a couple nice ones, and now he fights under the boards, being one of the smaller guys around, and does a nice job.
Molis blocked it originally, and then Caesar came in to help out and picked up the foul. When we come back, Stanley will be at the free throw line. King leads this contest by 1, 45-44. Don't go away. We're going to stay right here at the Assembly Hall. This game's gone exactly the way Gene Pingator would like it to go.
Well, it's definitely the, you know, he talked about controlling the tempo, and that's what he's done. We're in the 40s, and that's St. Joe's type of score. If we would have been in the 60s right now, that would have been King. That's what they would have wanted.
St. Joe came back from 9 points down, and here's one of the reasons why. Caesar with the left hand. Over to Mister, and up front it goes, and this will be Caesar's bankboard salad at the other end.
We've seen this play before. The last time Molis knocked the ball away, and it seems like what Coach Pingator teaches them, if they knock the ball away on defense, they should just start hustling down to the offensive end and hope that one of their teammates picks up the loose ball, and then they can have a fast break, because that's the second time it's happened, and it's worked both times.
If you like what you're seeing here, don't go away for the rest of the afternoon, because after the conclusion of this one, the Quincy Blue Devils. And everybody's talking about the coaching job Jerry Leggett did last night against Peoria Emanuel. Of course, you can coach it, but the players have to carry it out, and that combination worked well as they upset number 1. It's Quincy against one of the tallest teams you will ever see, East St. Louis Lincoln.
Jim, in the last 4:46 there, I think the defensive intensity on both teams is going to be really, really fun to watch.
Stanley at the free throw line. Not an excellent free throw shooter, just marginal at 50%. So much for percentages. Stanley drilled it. 2-point lead for King. Got them both. He said he's had an impact, and he keeps having one.
He's one of those players that doesn't get any publicity, but really contributes a great deal.
Three-quarter length press pays off for Chicago King. Pinched him in the corner, and Mister trying to get it up in front to Hayes, threw it away.
A nice coaching move by Coach Cox. They haven't pressed in a while. He brings it out, and the St. Joe's kids just didn't adjust to it right away.
Check that pass intended for Darrell Cunningham. Hayes still on the bench with 4 fouls. Down low to Liberty, and we've got a whistle and a foul from behind. It looks like the sophomore will be called for that one. Cunningham. Caesar goes across the lane and tells him, hands straight up in the air. Well, that's easy to say when you're trying to guard Marcus Liberty.
I bet you told him, hey, I did.
That's team foul number 4 on St. Joe's. Here's Liberty. He wants the deal. Look at this.
Oh, my God. We haven't seen that shot, I don't think. He wanted to show us something a little different.
The scoop move from Marcus Liberty. Oh, so soft. And now St. Joe trying to get it the other way. That's a charge. Is it a charge? Yes, it is. Caesar bowled his way in and threw the left elbow.
That scoop move by Marcus Liberty made it 30 in the game for the Magic guy.
There you see
Who took the
Caesar.
charge, Jim?
That's number 14 again, Carl Stanley. so easy to overlook people when you've got a Marcus Liberty on your team. But all these kids can play. Liberty for his 32nd point.
I think Marcus is feeling this right now.
51-44, Kings bust out to a 7-point advantage again, and just when it got close, they kicked it into a higher gear. Molis needs this one. He doesn't get it. Liberty had the rebound. He's fouled from behind by Cunningham.
That was an important shot. We still have a lot of time. Still a 7-point game. We got 3:46 left. But they've got to stop this run by King pretty soon.
Gene Pingator wants the timeout.
Good call.
So King, thanks to Marcus Liberty and, of course, some steady play from Carl Stanley. 3 minutes and 46 seconds away from another date in the championship game, but as Coach Geist alluded to moments ago, still plenty of time left. 3:46, 7-point margin.
I think this is, if I'm over in the Kings huddle, this is what I'm going to tell the kids. Hey, we've got a nice run here. Hit a couple nice shots. We've got a 7-point lead. We're going down to shoot a free throw, I believe. But the game's not over. We got 3:46 to go. I think we saw yesterday a couple times that a matter of 30 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever could be a lot of time depending on the situation. So this game is not over yet. And in the St. Joe's huddle, Coach Pingator is telling the same thing. It's not over. Let's hang in there. We just got to take our time, be sure we get good shots. He's working pretty hard right there, as you can see.
Pingator is a lot like you and I, Bill. If you tied his hands behind his back, he probably couldn't talk. A lot of body language. Here is Marcus Liberty. Look at that roll. That's a 9-foot finger roll.
Yeah, that's quite a shot. That's quite a shot. He's just got it's almost like he dribbles in, figures out while he's in the air what he has to do to put it in, and then decides.
Well, if Liberty scores 4 more here this afternoon, he will have 100 points through the Sweet 16.
See, the timeout situation could come into it, especially for St. Joe's being down by 2. They do have 2, or down by 7. They still have 2 timeouts left. I say that because you might want to stop the clock, and one of the ways to do it is to use one of your timeouts.
Richard Smith not in the ball game right now. Let's check that King lineup and see who Sonny Cox has inserted after this timeout. This, of course, Marcus Liberty.
Well, if you want to put somebody on the line, this is not the guy you'd want to put on there if you're a St. Joe's fan.
It is Carl Anderson and Johnny Selvey in the lane right now in rebounding position for King.
Marcus Liberty.
Jamie Brandon at the start.
Marcus Liberty has 72% of his free throws.
Anderson got the rebound but couldn't get it to fall. So Liberty hits 1 of 2. It's an 8-point lead, and Scales lost it out of bounds. Scales right in front of us looked at the ball as if it were an enemy.
Well, again, that's like that turnover at the start of the quarter before that backcourt one that King had. There's really no reason for the turnover. It just happened. You lose your concentration. Kids are a little tired.
Stanley and Brandon. The backcourt combination in there right now for Sonny Cox, and they work it up nicely. Brandon with a nice move, and he has it knocked away by Mister, but gets it to Liberty. Does he get that one, too? Not this time. Rebound comes down to Scales, and he's in a hurry. This is a 3-on-2. Drops it off to Molis. Pretty.
Good control on a fast break. Nice little bounce pass in for the shot.
6-point lead for King. Liberty, who can bring it up. Better watch out from behind. Somehow he gets it over to Stanley, and Stanley kicks it up to Brandon, who has a 3-on-2. Over to Anderson for the jam.
Basically, right now, it's Carl Stanley's job to get the ball past half court against all this pressure. And he did a nice job there, and you saw the easy stuff.
Back in the ball game is Carl Hayes, and he is fouled along the baseline by Carl Anderson, which stops the clock with 2:52 remaining and an 8-point King lead. There's Sonny Cox. Sonny saying, hey, calm down. We really don't need those personals at the moment. It's amazing the number of youngsters who came into this tournament with bad free throw shooting percentages, but who have not shown it on the floor. Hayes, another one of those, below 50% on the season, hands and most.
It just looks like he hasn't missed one all year. He's so calm. But a lot of times that shooting is just concentration. And if he can't concentrate down here with the importance of the game, something's wrong.
Selvey turned it over.
So you don't want Johnny Selvey bringing the ball up court.
Well, he was looking for some help. He just never could find any. And again, St. Joe's in that never-say-die position of a 6-point deficit with a chance to cut into it with a field goal. Molis had two people jump out on it. Cross course it. Mister, who rarely shoots, will drive, dish it off to Hayes. Pretty, and a foul on the play by King. I think it's on Selvey. Or is it Jamie Brandon? No, it's Selvey, all right. And he's out of here. Selvey is gone with his 5th personal foul. So things have changed around in a hurry.
So when we said there was a lot of time left, there's still a lot of time left. We still have 2:36 to go.
Well, that whole play set up by the penetration of Terry Mister, who got down in there, split down the lane, and found Carl Hayes cutting to the glass. Here you'll see it.
The point guards are so important, whether they score a lot or not. And I think you have Carl Stanley for King doing a great job, and Terry Mister has done a nice job for St. Joe's.
Well,
Terry Mister took over at point guard at midseason, and the Chargers haven't lost a game since.
Hayes misses the free throw, and Molis picked up the personal foul, fighting for the rebound. Tough turn of events there for Gene Pingator's Chargers. At the free throw line will be Carl Anderson. And King's in that better take advantage of charity situation right now. They do. When Anderson and Liberty give each other a high 10, I think it redefines the high 10.
Above the real high 11, maybe. You know, a lot of times free throw shooting is contagious, too. If you have one or two players, especially if they're better players, miss, everybody starts missing. You start hitting them, a lot of times most of the players will hit them. It's kind of a funny thing.
Anderson again. This one's going to be short. Liberty fighting for the rebound. It finally comes off, and who's got it? Molis picked it up. St. Joe down by 5 in a hurry. Mister over to Scales, off the glass, count him up.
Well, he uses the glass so nice.
Again, Mister with that penetration and quickly getting it down court. Lynch almost lost it. Emmett Lynch back in the game for Chicago King. Brandon the other way. He'll wisely slow it down. Now King will go out into his spread-out offense. For a while, anyway. Anderson looks for Liberty, and we've got a whistle and a foul on Caesar for St. Joe.
See, that spread offense there was a little bit different this time because instead of having Marcus Liberty out front, they have the 3 guards out front, and Marcus was at a low post. When he got the ball into the high post to that Anderson, I believe, and then Marcus looks to loop across the middle, and they look to dump it into him because it's one-on-one. And that time they tried it, and Marcus got pushed from behind.
And, of course, you mentioned Sonny Cox going to those 3 guards to beat the pressure. Liberty.
You know, we've talked a lot about Coach Pingator and his coaching moves, preparing for the game and what he's going to do. Coach Cox seems to come up with the right play at the right time as far as switching defenses or going to his delay game, getting the ball to the right person, whatever.
Liberty stays at 36, and the rebound comes down to St. Joe, who can make it a 2-point ball game. Just under 2 minutes now remaining in this semifinal game. Molis, 18-footer.
Molis a lot, and Colorado is happy they're getting him.
Knocked out of bounds by Molis. That pressure is there for the Chargers right now. Molis has 14 in this contest. Marcus Liberty for the 3 games in the Sweet 16 thus far, sitting at 100 points even. They get the ball into Anderson. Emmett Lynch does a nice job getting it up to Brandon. Charge. A charge on Brandon. And it was Caesar who set shot up underneath the hoop.
It's a very gutsy play because he was coming in hard.
Hayes was also down there to prevent a cross the lane pass to Liberty. So Lynch decided, or I should say Brandon decided to take it in all on his own, and here comes St. Joe for the possible tie. All the way down it goes. Caesar over his hands. Out of bounds.
There's still a minute 34. There's no reason to rush yet.
Timeout, Chicago King.
Good call on the timeout, I believe. King should be settled down.
Sonny Cox wants to talk it over. 56-54. King busted out to a 7-point lead in this 4th quarter and looked like they were in control, but St. Joe's came right on back. Big jumper by Molis moments ago.
I think this is the fun thing about high school basketball. You just never know what's going to happen. We've had a couple turnovers that there was no reason for. There's no defense around. We've had the ball slip out of people's hands, and then we had great plays one after another, too. So, you know, when you work with young kids like this, you just never know, and I think that's the exciting part of the game.
Gene Pignator is saying to Scales, there's no reason to take that and throw that ball all that distance. Take it right to him, get up to him, and then kick it off after the penetration is made. And there you see Landon Cox, who's had a great run at King. In his 6 years, 158 victories and only 21 losses. And it's down to 1:34. And King is trying to become the first team since 1972 to win back-to-back state championships.
Well, I know it's got to be tough when everybody points to you and looks at you and they go at you with a nothing-to-lose attitude, and you're supposed to win. That's a tough situation for any team and coach to play under.
Almost all year long, whenever King played, they were the favorite. They were expected to win.
Right. Take a look at the individuals. There's been a correction in the official score as far as Marcus Liberty. He now has 34, but right now that's not the issue. You can see 3 different players on St. Joe's with 14, so good balance. Stanley and Emmett Lynch are going to play catch out front with 1:20 to go. Liberty post low. Turn around, it'll fall.
See, they're delaying unless they can get the ball to Marcus, and then if he can get the ball, it looks like he's got a green light to do whatever he wants.
58-54. Liberty responds for King. Stolen away out front by Lynch. Will he slow it down? You bet your Sonny Cox he will.
Well, smart play. That's a little experience right there. But Scales did a fundamental thing wrong. He left his feet. He had nowhere to pass the ball.
Well, I think it's an understatement to say right now. Another point or two by Chicago King, and St. Joe will be in trouble. Taken away by Scales. Count 'em up. 58-56. It's a 2-point game again, and they better hurry up. They better get it in. Taken away by Caesar. They're going to call a foul. Oh, man. Caesar actually did hold on to Liberty with one arm while he was taking the ball with the other. And now the pressure falls on the talented shoulders of Marcus Liberty, who will go back to the free throw line. Caesar will play no more this afternoon. He has 5 personal fouls.
He is.
Boy, but what a game, huh?
Oh, he's had a great game. It's got to be the best game he's played.
14 points, and he really worked hard on the boards and defensively.
There you see that pass a little bit lazy and long, and that's the kind of passes that get picked off. But as you saw, the right arm was on the back of Liberty as the left arm got the basketball.
6'2" senior Sean Tyler, 21, checks into the game for the Chargers.
37 seconds remain. We've got a timeout on the floor. Man,
can't get a close game in this tournament.
I know. I don't know what you got to do. Don't forget we have Peoria Manual's, the team, or I should say,
Eliminator.
the Eliminator, Dick Van Syak's nightmare. Those Quincy Blue Devils were coming up next against East St. Louis Lincoln and LaFonso Ellis, who really didn't get to unleash all of his talent yesterday. He was kind of kept in check, especially after getting 2 early fouls.
When you come down the lane against him, it looks like there's a small aircraft in the paint, and they'll be the baseline is maybe the biggest any high school team's ever had. But we've got ourselves 37 seconds left and still anybody's game.
The purpose of this timeout by St. Joe's, I think, is twofold. Number one, give Marcus Liberty a little chance to think about this free throw. And number 2, to set up he's got a new player coming in because Caesar just fouled out. He wants to make sure all the St. Joe players know who they're guarding and what they're going to do here on offense and defense in the last 37 seconds.
The message Sonny Cox had for his team, a simple one. Get the ball to Marcus.
And, of course, Bill, guys, this is why you don't like to see a 3-point shot in high school basketball, because it changes the strategies completely.
That's one of the reasons, yeah.
And don't forget, you can vote on that topic. Yes or no, do you want the 3-point shot in Illinois high school basketball play? We'll be giving you those numbers shortly after the conclusion of this game. Marcus Liberty, a big free throw. Let's just watch it.
So nothing seems to bother this young man.
Maybe girls, but that's not for us to decide. It's obviously not basketball. Got them both. Marcus Liberty with 2 key free throws for Chicago King, and now St. Joe in a hurry. Almost taken away, headed out of bounds, saved by Hayes. Hayes quickly to Mister. Mister will force it up and be fouled. Well, that's not what Chicago King wanted, but they had little choice as Mister got 3 down underneath.
No, you don't want that to happen for a couple reasons. Number one, it stops the clock. Number two, it lets the St. Joe's players catch their breath because they're going to have to be putting on this full court pressure as soon as the ball comes in bounds again.
And number 3, it gives them a good opportunity to set up that full court pressure.
Right.
Timeout on the floor as Marcus Liberty and company will go over and talk to Sonny Cox, and Gene Pingatore will have another powwow. And now the numbers that we talked about as far as the three-point play is concerned. If you'd like to vote for it, the number on the top of your screen, 900-220-2133. If you'd like to keep it out of the high school game, 1-900-220-2144. Those calls will cost you 50 cents apiece.
You know, just before we flash that on the screen, you saw Coach Cox talking to, I believe it was Carl Stanley. And I think what he was doing is just telling him, he's pointing up at the clock and saying, we don't want to foul now. Even if the Mister would have driven in and made the shot, that's okay because the clock keeps going. Right now, the enemy of King is the clock, not St. Joe's. All they want is for the last 29 seconds to go by. And hopefully for King as quickly as possible, and for St. Joe's as slowly as possible.
Terry Mister is a 67% free throw shooter, and I don't believe he's taken a free throw in the game. I'm almost sure I saw the official signal a 2-shot foul on that play.
Should be a 2-shot foul.
Terry Mister's father familiar to basketball. He's the Steinmetz sophomore coach.
Marcus Liberty, a one-man gang here in the fourth quarter with 14 points. Mister free throw. Couldn't get it to fall. He walks away and reevaluates his concentration. 29 seconds left. St. Joe trails by, still 4. Rebound high in the air belongs to Carl Anderson. He'll kick it out to Brandon and now to Lynch. Lynch in good shape is fouled from behind by Molis. It's a 1-1.
That was on orders from the bench that the free throws didn't go down. They wanted to foul as quickly as they could. And I think right now you want to foul anybody but Marcus Liberty, and they're going to give somebody else a chance to shoot the free throws now. I think it was Emmett Lynch.
Lynch was a starter last year, shoots free throws at 64%.
Gene Pingatore saying, well, free throws don't go down. What can we do? Lynch got air. Lynch missed everything.
All right, now we got a 4-point game, 23 seconds to go. If St. Joe's scores, I would assume they're going to call their last timeout to stop the clock.
They tried to get it to Molis, but it was picked off by Brandon. I saw that play coming 5 seconds ago. It looked like Scales and Molis were giving each other a little signal like, I'll go back underneath the basket on the long pass, but Brandon was kind of decoying him. He wasn't real close up on Molis. And then as soon as the pass was released, he got back there and picked it off, and you can see what kind of agony that caused Gene Pingatore.
Well, you're exactly right. The thing is, they saw him open, but it was such a long pass, it gave the defense a lot of time to react to it.
Well, this could pretty much do it if he hits both of them, but he won't. Molis has the rebound. Nobody wants to make any free throws down the stretch here. Mister in a hurry. Mister spins, puts it up. Tough shot and got it. 10 seconds remain. It's a 2-point contest. Very important inbound. That's the man you want to give it to. Liberty streaking. 3, 2, 1. It's over. It's over. They got it to Liberty, and he simply outraced the defense.
You know, I thought St. Joe's had one more timeout left. Evidently they didn't, because I'm sure they would have used it.
Sonny Cox and Gene Pingatore shake hands, and it didn't look like Sonny was all that pleased with the way it ended, but you know, inside he's got to be happy to be in his second straight Class A state championship game here at the Assembly Hall in Champaign. I'm telling you, St. Joe hung tough. They were down by 9 at one point, cut into it, then fell back by 7, cut into it, and the final score, as you can see right there, 60-58. King a bucket better, and they'll try to defend their championship tonight against either East St. Louis Lincoln or Quincy. We'll talk about that when we come back after we pause for these messages. Jim Albrecht, Frank Bassoni, and Bill Geist
the coach of Lyle Bennett, back live at the Assembly Hall after one more team was eliminated, that in the form of Westchester St. Joseph. Gene Pinketor got exactly what he wanted out of his team, just a little bit short. In the end, I'm sure the pressure defense that he wanted to apply and create at least a foul never materialized because they got it out to Liberty, and that great speed just went down the other way.
Yeah, the only thing that I would question is, I just checked the official score, and St. Joe's did have one timeout left. I don't know whether he wanted to call that timeout or not. Maybe he didn't communicate it to his players. Maybe his players forgot, you know, and things get going so fast down here, sometimes the players will forget things like that. But, you know, you called it right. I can't see where he's really that disappointed. His players gave a maximum effort, and I think we have to give some credit to King. As we mentioned before, they're expected to win. They're expected to beat these teams, and yet they're taking every challenge almost in stride. And, of course, you can't say enough about Marcus Liberty and the way he played today.
Not with 38 points, you can't say enough about Marcus. Frank?
There was only 22 other points scored in the game by King than Liberty's 38. They had a focus from the top of this broadcast and this game to go to Liberty. They got it done. King knew it, St. Joe's knew it, and nobody could stop him.
That's right. James said before the game that they figured they couldn't match up with Marcus Liberty, so therefore they're going to give him his points and hope to keep the rest of the players under control. Well, Marcus kind of took over. I don't think they expected to get 38.
And for St. Joe's, they came within a whisker in spite of 38 of pulling this one out.
So it was a pretty good game plan, I think.
You bet.
Gentlemen, we'll start setting up our second semifinal game of the afternoon in just moments. But now, let us take time for this from our network sponsors. The Quincy Blue Devils are out on the floor right now. On the other half of the floor that you don't see at the moment, filling that vacant half in just moments, will be East St. Louis Lincoln. We have some time now to go to an interview with Ola Bundy, the executive director of the IHSA. Let's do that now.
Hello. With Lenny Bias's death last spring, a good deal of national attention focused on drug abuse amongst collegiate athletes. The Illinois High School Association wanted to prevent the problem in Illinois high schools before it got to such a widespread abuse. With us now is Ola Bundy, who is the Assistant Executive Secretary of the Illinois State High School Association. She's also just recently been put in charge of the Chemical Abuse Program. Ola, why did the State High School Association get involved?
The association became involved in this area because of the statistics that were being given to us on a national basis that high school students were having problems in the area of drug and alcohol abuse across the United States.
Did you find that Illinois was more of a problem than the rest of the country, or did we fall pretty well in the mean of those statistics?
At the present time, there hasn't really been any widespread research in Illinois in our high schools, and this is one of the reasons why we became involved, so that we in some way can help our high schools to gather the statistics among our students.
You've started a new program called Target. What is Target?
Target is a national program that was started by the National Federation of High School Associations, and the target of the program is helping students cope with alcohol and drugs. And the target will be for students to help students and for teachers and coaches to help students to cope with the alcohol and drug abuse problems.
What are some of the specific things the IHSA has done, say, in the past 12 months?
In the past 12 months, we first, last spring, we conducted a survey of our 814-member high schools, asking what kinds of programs existed in their high schools and how could the IHSA maybe be of service to our high schools in establishing some drug chemical programs. And the thing that we found out was that many of our high schools have programs already in place, either the STOP program, the Lieutenant Governor Ryan's program, the In Touch program that is offered out of Springfield. But in addition to that, there was still a void in terms of working specifically with high school athletes and with students who participate in interscholastic activities. And our member high schools at that time told us that they thought we could be of service to helping to share ideas and programs that work with them so that they could put them in place.
Has the IHSA taken a position on drug testing in high schools?
Yes, we have, without really taking a formal position. We support the position of the Target program, and that is that we do not recommend drug testing at the high school level. We don't feel it's the answer to the abuse problems for drugs and alcohol. That rather we feel like it's the education programs and the prevention programs that will help solve the problems.
Where does the IHSA go from here?
We're going to continue with our efforts to offer workshops and to help our member schools to establish programs. In doing that, we're going to be a part of the National Federation Target program that will send from Illinois, from the IHSA member schools, 9 persons to Hazelden Court Foundation in Minneapolis, where we will train workshop people. They'll come back, and we will offer in the next year and a half to 2 years some 80 workshops throughout the state of Illinois for our coaches, for our student leaders, and for our captains of our teams, and for even parents to help them establish programs.
What can the people who are listening out there, the parents, the students, teachers, what can they do to help? The IHSA can lead the direction, but what can individuals do to help with the problem?
Everybody can do their part. And right now, one of the biggest things that adults and parents and students even, to help other students, the thing they can do is to help support their schools and the programs that are coming into place in the schools. And one of the biggest things I want to tell the parents is that one of the biggest deterrents to students abusing in our area of alcohol and drugs is for them to object to it. And so for those parents out there who have said no, and to help their sons and daughters say no, they're on the right track. And whatever they do will help to prevent the problem.
Well, we've been talking with Ola Bundy, who is the Assistant Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School Association, about what they're doing to help prevent alcohol and drug abuse in high schools. I think one of the best things I've seen down at the tournament is one of the Elite 8 teams who had on the back of their shirts, "Just Say No." For the Illinois High School Association, I'm Rebecca Paul.
King has just eliminated St. Joseph. Coming up, East St. Louis Lincoln against the Quincy Blue Devils. We'll be back with that. One of your network sponsors, the American Dairy Association of Illinois. In the game just concluded, Chicago King shot 44 times from the field in the game, and Marcus Liberty took 27 of those shots. They went to him, he produced. He hammered in 15 field goals and made 38 points to lead King to a 60-58 victory, and there's still the same name on the Palace mailbox at the moment. King, 52% from the field. St. Joe's, 44%. The free throw difference, King shot 8 more. The rebound difference, surprisingly, St. Joe's wins by 10, but St. Joseph's turned the ball over too many times. I know Gene Pingator wouldn't like the 18 turnovers, Coach.
Well, I think the extra rebounds they got was somewhat negated by the extra turnovers they had, but it was still a great game and a great effort by St. Joe's. And I thought great execution by King under a lot of pressure, in particular Marcus Liberty.
14 points for Molis, and Caesar along the baseline scales had 16 outside, and Molis added 11 rebounds to the total to build their 34 rebound total. Molis had a very good game all the way around, especially when you consider that King keyed on him with 2 men most of the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he plays the whole game. In other words, he's more than a scorer. He made some good defensive plays. He led the team in rebounds. He made some very nice passes, if you remember.